Hi everyone, we have had the privilege here today to sit with one of the greatest players Maharashtra basketball has ever seen. I think in my entire life, what I have witnessed playing, the core responsibility of a post has been lived up to the highest extent by no one else apart from Susie. She is the captain of Maharashtra today, played over tons of nationals that I can't even keep a count of, and she is the pillar and the support what Maharashtra needs today, and she's been taking the legacy forward in the best way possible. So maybe let's start with an introduction. Susie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Radha. So, I would like to introduce myself by saying that my name is Suzanne Pinto, and I have been a part of the of the state basketball team since the last 13 years, and I've been playing for Maharashtra since under 13, and it's been a long journey. And there is nothing more. There's nothing more that I can feel proud of today as I lead the under 23 team here at Guwahati, and these girls have performed extraordinarily well. So I'm really proud of my team, and I'm proud to be called the captain of this team.
Woo! So, what I would like for us to start off with would be, what do you think, since we are here in Guwahati, what has been like the key highlight for you throughout this particular national? Which match do you think, or maybe what moment do you think really stood out, since you've played tons of nationals and Guwahati being the one where you were leading the team ahead and you took it ahead in a phenomenal manner? What do you think really stood out to you, and what do you think that getting, like, being the lead for this team, how do you think the girls fared?
I feel particularly in terms of the tournament that we came to play here at Guwahati, the team has performed extraordinarily well, because initially in our league matches we did come across a lot of teams that we beat one-sided, but eventually in the quarterfinals when we faced Karnataka, though we did lose by 2 points, but the team performed phenomenal, because there were instances, and I cannot forget those instances, where we were trailing by more than 14 points, and within 2 minutes we have covered up those 12 to 14 points with, hat tricks of 3-pointer shots, and those moments are still in my head, and I can't be more proud of this team.
Generally, I've had the opportunity to witness these moments, so I would definitely recommend you all to go ahead. I'd put the link up somewhere. Please do watch that match, because it is one of the greatest games you'll get to witness. Moving on, let's start from your childhood. What got you into basketball?
So I think in my school, I come from a girls' school, St. Anthony's. The only sports that we had there was basketball and volleyball. So we had to pick and choose between these sports. And basketball was doing a lot in my school at that time. So, and also I have an elder sister. So when I was in the primary, we had basketball from the secondary. So she motivated me actually a lot to join basketball, because I would see her play and I'd be like, well, I want to go and play. So yeah, it's when I was in primary, I did join basketball that time. And once I joined, there was no stopping. There was no looking back, definitely.
So, as soon as you joined basketball, were you as tall as you are right now? Was that an inherent advantage as soon as you joined? Like, did you excel from the beginning?
Yeah, so if in terms of my height, I was more than the average height of the girls in and around my age. So I always had that kind of height advantage, and I have been experiencing it since I was born, because it's hereditary. My parents are also really tall. So yeah.
Wonderful. And your moment in Anthony's, were you always the team captain? How was the team faring back then? Because school performances are extremely important to give that particular boost. If you're from a school that is continuously championing in basketball, it makes a lot of impact when you go ahead for your further journeys for selections. If you have a competitive team and you're coming out of a competitive team versus coming out of a team that's not doing so well, but a particular individual is performing exceptionally well, that would be a different situation. So what would your views be on the same? Like, did Anthony's continuously excel before you came in as well, or was it always at the top?
So in terms of basketball, Anthony's always was at the top, no doubt about it. And like I said, since we were at the top, I learned a lot from my seniors. So when I was in school, one of the main reasons that my team or my batch was exceptionally good, I led my team in the school for 6 years, and we had all championships in our hand, and that time we were exceptionally good, is because we had seniors who were amazing and who put up a tough fight on the court every day at practice. So yeah, we were really good in school days, and my team is what gave me the opportunity to shine out and perform so extraordinarily well.
Incredible, amazing. So happy to hear that. So moving on, as Susie, as a person I have known, even though she's on the court, her balance with life, with academics, with sports, with friendships is tremendous. She is not only excelling in sports, she was the head girl of our school, and she did exceptionally well in academics. So not only basketball, but she is like a versatile, well-rounded person. So would you like to throw light upon how do you manage these kind of responsibilities? Because you barely see someone who's playing at an India camp level and also being the head girl of their school doing exceptionally well in basketball. So I think that would be the greatest learning you could pass on to the generations, that how can you do everything, how do you balance it out, and it would be an amazing experience to hear that from you.
Yeah, so like Radha did mention, it's not only about me, but I feel that a lot of people who engage in sports do exceptionally well in their studies. So when I was in school, I was obviously more than average, but I think my principal and my teachers believed in me that I could take up this extra responsibility of the head girl in the school. So this is not what I was really looking up to, because for me in my school days basketball was everything. But they did give me that push and that assurance ki, don't worry, you're quite capable of it, just take over the responsibility and we will support you. So I think this was very important, because when I did become the head girl, a lot of things got added to my plate. I already had a lot with basketball and academics, and then taking responsibility of the school, I was in a double state of mind. But believe me, it has been one of the greatest decisions of my life to not only lead the basketball team in the school, but also lead the school. And I wouldn't trade anything for my school memories.
Woo! A statement well said by the captain of Maharashtra. And I think it's extremely important to balance all elements of in your life. To give you all a recent study done by EY, there was a metric that 94% of the women in Fortune 500 C-suites identify with themselves as being an athlete. So naturally, being a sportsman is extremely crucial to perform professionally as well. But also coming back and throwing light on people who decide to take up being a professional basketball player full time. What do you think their lifestyles are like in India, and how do you think in India the opportunities have come up? Because recently we can see so many leagues signing on teams, signing on male and female sportsmen. How do you see that playing out, and how do you see it growing from here?
I think for women, we are not yet at that place wherein we have that kind of opportunities. But definitely, we have come a long way from when it was 10 years back. If you would ask me what opportunities women had, it was nothing but the railways. But today, we have income tax, we have police, we have powerhouses that actually encourage women to play basketball. And also with BFI taking in initiatives of coming up with new leagues. And giving various kind of scholarship for players, it does motivate girls to look up to actually taking basketball as a profession. I personally didn't do that because during my time things were different and I was getting better opportunities. But for women right now, there is only growth, and definitely there is a lot of opportunities coming down in the future that we can look up to.
Incredible. Coming to the crux of the moment, I think what Susie's biggest achievement in my eyes, or in a lot of people who are like her fans like me, has been her India camp journey. She was one of the top players and is one of the top players in the country. She made it to an India camp, and being in an India camp, a lot of people don't know what goes behind. So I just wanted to understand that, okay, once you have gotten through, you gave an exceptional performance at your national tournament, you got selected for this particular India camp. How did it work? Like, which tournament was it? Which India camp did you go for? And what was your schedule like in the India camp? What is your mindset like during the India camp? Like, tell us, try painting an entire picture for us. Like, what goes behind it? What gets you there? And what your schedule was like? Was your diet controlled? Were they paying attention to your mental health? What happens at an India camp?
So for me, the India camp journey began when I had participated in the under 18 nationals. Post that is when I got into the Indian camp for the under 23 India team. Eventually the tournament didn't happen because of COVID, but India camp is completely a different level of game. So what happens back in our states is that we as players, as known players, we don't have to prove ourselves every day. There are days that we can go light, there are days that we can sit back. But in the India camp, everyone every day is fighting for a spot there. So it is a very long period that we do camp. We camp for around a month or two depending on the time that we have. Additionally, we have 3 sessions a day. So when you think about it, physically our bodies are completely sore and exhausted. But mentally, because everyone wants to get there, people are pushing themselves harder, and you tend to go to an extent that you didn't really know that I was capable of this. Is because of pure competition. Also the opportunity to actually stay and in person interact with people from all different states gives you a completely different approach towards the game. Everyone comes there with a story, and it is really inspiring, how people have given their life to basketball. And for me, I feel like I was more than lucky to be given that opportunity to be a part of the Indian camp. I might have not made it to the team, but there are so many things that I came back home with a lot of learnings, memories, and I still carry those bags today.
Phenomenal. Like, this is something all the people are yearning for, and you could make it happen. Everyone in Maharashtra is so proud of you. People are looking up to you. I myself, you have been like that insane inspiration for everyone standing by your way. So crazy respect, because putting your body through that, putting your mind through that, it's a two-way street. Both of those struggles are pressuring up, plus a lot of pressure from Maharashtra. You're carrying your state at that point of time. Even during this national, you had to carry an entire state, carry that weight on your shoulders and come through for everyone. You have done that to another extent, and so much respect for you, Susie. How are the other things within the India camp apart from the training sessions? So do you all have any other kind of sessions around just mental training, or maybe something like how is your diet controlled? Since people come from all over the country, so a lot of different cuisines at play. So like, how do people end up managing all of that? How comfortable is the environment? Is the infrastructure like, where did your India camp happen?
So my India camp did happen in Bangalore in the Ibis Hotel, and since we were just coming out of the pandemic, we had amazing facilities in terms of our diet was taken care of. We had spread of cuisines from the North Indian to the South Indian. We had good healthy options of meals, but we definitely didn't have mental health sessions at that time. We had a lot of sessions. We had practice in the morning for 2 hours, then we had gym sessions for 1.5 hours in the afternoon. In the evening, we had another 2-3 hour session. So this was the regular pattern of the camp. In terms of diet, we had dietitians, who were on the team and who were guiding us on what our body needs to consume more. But yeah, the food was 10 on 10. Diet was taken care of. Stay was amazing. Yeah, it was quite a good experience in terms of hospitality. In terms of comfort, I think everyone, when you come and actually play together with people who are coming from quite different backgrounds, different languages, there is a spot where you actually need to step out of your comfort zone. So I wouldn't say that I was really comfortable with the people in and around me in the India camp. I had to put in that extra effort, but definitely they made, at the end of the day, they're all my friends now, and they didn't make me feel like home.
Woo! Let's go. Kudos to that, Susie. Moving back, where do you see Maharashtra from here? What kind of players do you see are coming up? What do you think the girls in Maharashtra should be doing to be able to aim for the next national championship, to be able to make it to more India camps? What do you think would be the pathway for them? How do you see it all play out?
I think for the upcoming players, I want to take example of the team that I have with me right now. They're amazing individuals. I think individually they all represent their district. They are one of the best players in their district, and that's why they're made to the state team. But I feel like they need a little more consistency in their practice. They need a little more exposure and opportunities of tournaments, because compared to what it was 5 years back, there aren't that many tournaments that are actually happening now at the district and state level. Also, I think Maharashtra as a state should take initiative of organizing state championships, is because when players play for the state championship, there is a lot more that they can perform and show their talent as compared to just trials being held. Individually, I feel they should concentrate, and I feel they should set their goals and aim to be the best in the state. Only that is when they will be able to go and perform and give their 100% at the nationals, because we all really put in a lot of hard work. It's not only about the people in Maharashtra and the players in Maharashtra. Obviously, all states work very hard, towards improving themselves. So how much time individually I feel like I am investing in myself, someone from the other state is also investing in themselves. So if you want to, you want to be outshine someone, you have to take that extra step of, consistency. There are no days that you can go off or you can say, okay, fine, I need a break, because if we look at the bigger picture, we have a lot of other goals that we are aiming towards as a state.
Woo! Let's go, Susie. So happy to hear that. Incredible. I also wanted to ask a question around your Khelo India experience. Khelo India, as a policy from the government, has supported a lot of people monetarily. So I wanted to understand that if someone wants to keep excelling through that path, what would be like the roadmap to playing a Khelo India? Like there's a Khelo India University that happens, there's a Khelo India Youth that happens. Usually, what is the how does, like, I'm a player sitting, I play in Bombay. How would I get to go for these tournaments? What are like the levels you have to go through?
So I feel for Khelo India, at my time they would take the top 20 girls and 20 guys in the country and give them a scholarship, which I was a part of for 5 years. So
Wow.
Khelo India, like we have a selection committee at every nationals. The best players on that list get a scholarship for 5 years. And also Khelo India has this assessment camp every year, wherein all players come together and they have certain assessments that they take of the players to see to it that the players are fit and no one is taking advantage of being under the monetary regulation provided by Khelo India. So there's nothing extraordinary to get into the Khelo India scheme. It's pure performance that you perform at the nationals. Through there, the selectors and the people who represent Khelo India come see you, and on the basis of your merit, you get selected and get that scholarship from the government.
Amazing. Now, finally, coming down to the last question. You are a post player, and in India, there is no post player like you. To be honest, the way your game is structured, there are a lot of the things that are unbeatable about it. If you all go and watch some of Susie's matches, you all would see that her few of her patent shots, nobody can, if anyone had to, nobody can stop them. So what would be your favorite move, if you have one in mind? And what would you say to other post players that need to build themselves in that manner? And what is like the mindset that goes behind a post? Because the post is also the one who sees the entire game going on. So in a way, you have to make sure that every player knows if there's some kind of a defensive barrier coming in. You have to make sure every player is in their position, and you can scream out to them like what all are the responsibilities of a post, and if you have a move in mind.
Yeah, so obviously my favorite move is, when I get the ball from the 45, and for all those of y'all who know, I'm very strong on my right, so, I just fake turn around and go underarm on the right. That is my patent shot, and most of the times I make those shots. I draw a lot of fouls on those shots, but additionally I enjoy getting these drop passes from my ball handlers. For example, I've been playing with Sia for now more than 12 years, and the type of coordination that we share on court, I feel, is that no one can push me to, be a better player in the game than she does, is because of our amazing coordination. And yeah, definitely being a post, I have a lot of other bunch of responsibilities that come with, rebounding and all that. But I feel like right now there are a lot of players who, want to actually be all-rounders, which is really great. But for me, I always wanted to be a post. I always wanted to put out that unbeatable game in the paint. I just wanted to dominate the paint, and I feel like I've come a long way with that.
Amazing. Susie, thank you so much for sitting with us. Thank you so much for inspiring all the young women and all the young players out there. I think this is really, really going to, just hearing it out from the captain of Maharashtra is going to be a boon for everyone in Maharashtra who are looking up to you, who have seen you play, and who draw so much inspiration from you. So thank you, and let's go Jai Maharashtra.
Jai Maharashtra.